Hello everybody, how are you tonight? Welcome to my Cambridge TOEFL and IELTS certification classes. My name is Rego and I'm officially a Cambridge examiner for the speaking part of the test, and tonight I prepared an outstanding introductory writing class for you in which I will let on all the tips that you need in order not to feel jumpy the day of the test. In other words, you'll finally learn how to accurately start writing your academic essay. But before doing that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, leave your like and click on the button below so that you get all my tips for both grammar and vocabulary next time, alright? Also, ask all your friends to visit my channel to help me expand it and keep this page totally free of charge. So, shall we start? Basically, when you are starting your piece of writing, there are two main things you need to be aware of. The number one is a topic sentence, and number two is a hook. And now I'm going to show you the main difference between the two of them, okay? So, what is a topic sentence? Its main point is basically to help organize each paragraph by summing up its information in a brief manner to make it easier for readers to grab your points. So you have to systematize the paragraph so that the readers get your drift. They know exactly where you're trying to go, alright? And good topic sentences are always related to your thesis, which basically means your opinion that must be proved throughout the text, okay? And it serves as a helpful roadmap because it tells every reader where you go with your information or how you treat your topic. So I've already recorded another video on full essays in which I discuss all the paragraphs, but this one is exclusively for people who have real difficulties opening up or real difficulties starting off an essay. So if you understand what a topic sentence is, and if you understand what a hook is, that's what's going to make you start and not wasting too much time at the beginning of the essay. Just so you know that, like, you have around 13 minutes to write an essay in English language, and some people, they waste 10 minutes, a third of their time, thinking on how to start off the essay. That's so unfair, isn't it? Because you should be much faster. So I'm going to help you, alright? So the basic functions of those sentences, basically, they are essential because they lead the target audience into the major points you're making without any complication, okay? They also help you avoid miscommunication. So in other words, those functions must make your paragraphs precise. They must make your paragraph very clear and objective. So its main qualities are conciseness, accuracy, and clarity. When I say conciseness, I mean to be objective. To only use the amount of words really needed in your text. Accuracy is to be perfect. So we cannot misunderstand what you're trying to say. And clarity, you have to be very clear. It's almost the same as accuracy, but accuracy is more related to grammar. It's grammar-wise. And clarity is the ideas you have. So we understand full, what you're trying to say. So let's move. The hook. So basically, in the first paragraph, hooks serve to capture readers' attention, help them decide if they want to continue reading your text. If your hook is very poor, they will stop it. They won't read any longer. But if your hook is very interesting, if it captures their attention, then they will see more, they will read more and see if it's worthwhile, okay? And once you've hooked, in other words, once you've attracted readers, you have to make sure to introduce your essay topic and your thesis. Again, the thesis is the opinion which has to be defended. Okay? When you talk of a hook, we're talking of facts, not opinions. When you talk of thesis, in this case, we're talking of opinion. So first, introduce the fact. Secondly, it's your opinion that matters. Okay? An essay usually opens your introduction rather than replaces it. So we're talking again about the hook. We do not use a hook in the whole first paragraph. No, the hook's like 3 or 4 lines that's used to open your paragraph. Then after that, you're gonna have your thesis, your opinion about that, about the main topic, and then probably you're gonna have 2 arguments to be developed throughout the essay. Okay? So again, what's a hook? A hook is basically a sentence to capture people's attention, to attract, to fish them. Imagine a fisher, and they have hooks, okay? So they put baits in the hook, they throw in the water, and they capture the fish. That's what you're trying to do with your text. You're capturing readers. Basically, that's what you're doing, alright? So, and how to write an essay hook? The first option, well, there are many ways. Again, this is not the only way, but I'm going to tell you the way I do it. I use literary quotes or write a quote from a brilliant person. Okay? So basically, what I ask my students is to memorize a bunch of quotes, around 20 quotes in different areas. For example, I know offhand, by heart, offhand, some quotes for health issues, some quotes for education, some quotes for sport, some quotes for cultural aspects of life, you know. So, irrespective of the topic, I always have a quote in my mind that will link to the topic. Understand? As an example, let's just imagine for a minute that our topic of the night is the dangers of self-medication. Okay? So, the dangers of self-medication. Who should you quote here? Well, you have to make sure this person is legendary. This person is kind of glorious. It cannot be anybody like John Smith. Nobody's ever heard of him. It has to be a legendary person, like Darwin, like Newton. You know what I mean? Like a legendary person, a glorious person, so you don't make the reader search for this person on the internet. Okay? So the quotes must come from maybe Plato, maybe Aristotle, you know? So great authorities in biology, health, science, education, philosophy, as long as you manage to link it with your thesis. Because it's to no avail if you just quote it and you have no idea how to link that to the topic. So you need to make sure that you quote it, and then immediately after you're going to use a conjunction and you're going to make a link to the thesis, to your opinion. So first you quote and then you say, okay, what's my opinion on that? And then you have a perfect introduction. Okay? So great. Let's continue. So we are now going to see some possible quotes for our introductory paragraph. And the first one is by Charles Darwin. It's a great name to start your essay. So let's see the quote first. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. So let's just remember that Darwin was the greatest British biologist, you know, who basically wrote the book The Origin of Species, and that book is probably the second most important book after the Bible. So quoting Darwin is one of the best things you can do in your essay. Okay? Now let's check our second quote. It's health that's real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver. And this time we're quoting Mahatma Gandhi. Let's remember that he was a lawyer and ethics specialist from India, and he fought in favor of the very poor communities. That's why he's well known around the world. I mean, anywhere on earth you mention that name Gandhi, people know who we're talking about. So he's glorious. Okay? Third quote. Happiness is the highest form of health. In that case, we're talking of Dalai Lama, who was the Tibetan Buddhist ecumenical figure who won the Nobel of Peace to stop China from attacking Tibetan communities. You know, I mean, I don't remember if that was 1988. I think that was the date. But again, when you mention Dalai Lama anywhere on earth, people know who you're talking about. Okay, and that's great. Now, our fourth quote. Life is like a tree and its roots consciousness. Therefore, once we tend to the roots, the tree as a whole will be healthy. And that's Deepak Chopra's quote. Let's remember that Deepak Chopra was an Indian doctor who studies spirituality, he studies quantum physics, and he's just published over 80 books in around 120 different languages. So he's notorious for mixing his medicine and spirituality. So it's a great name to cite. Okay? Now, the fifth. The greatest of follies is to sacrifice health for any other kind of happiness. And this time we're talking of the philosopher Schopenhauer. So the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who lived in the 19th century and studied metaphysical idealism, he studied all the morality, and he's a perfect person to cite because in this case we're mixing the moral aspects of self-medicating, you know. So we have a philosophical approach this time, you know. We know that his books, his texts are very challenging to read, but again, a great name if you can link that properly to your essay. And the last quote, prevention is better than cure, which was written by Erasmus. If you remember, he was the Dutch humanist who first edited the New Testament for the Bible, you know. There's the Old Testament, the New Testament. This guy was the first person on earth to edit the New Testament. So, again, another great name. He was from Holland, the Dutch guy, okay? So those were the 6 quotes. But obviously, quotes aren't the only way to start your text. There are other ways you have to take into account. So, in this first example, I'm going to use historical references and facts. So, let's see it. Since the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, pharmacies around the world have started selling drugs indiscriminately without a prescription. Thus, some of the potential risks of self-medication practices included incorrect self-diagnosis, severe adverse reactions, as well as incorrect dosage or inadequate choice of therapy. See? So it was a great example. I didn't have a quote, but I had facts. I knew history. So when you sum facts plus history, that also makes a great hook. So you're going to define self-medication. Self-medicating is when somebody has an illness or disease and chooses to get over-the-counter drugs without discussing it with a doctor or medical expert. In this case, many individuals act as their own physicians and self-diagnose to avoid the payout of consulting a professional. So, as you could see, this video was aimed to people who really struggle to start off their texts And this was the introductory part of the essay. In the other videos, I intend to write the thesis, all the methods involved in your opinions, which should be defended throughout the text. And then I'm going to teach you your arguments and finally how to finish your text. So, thank you so much for having me with me tonight. Thanks for your patience, and I hope to see you next time. So please, again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, click on the link below and make sure you're part of this class with me. I just have to say thank you very much. Cheers. Bye bye.